Once upon a time, in a quiet town nestled between rolling hills, there lived a young man named Jack. Jack was a curious soul, always searching for meaning in the world around him. He worked as a carpenter, spending his days crafting furniture for the villagers. Despite his hard work, there was something in him that never felt quite settled. Something deep within, a question he couldn't quite answer. One warm spring morning, as Jack was walking to the market, he came across an elderly man sitting beneath a large oak tree. The old man's face was lined with age, but his eyes gleamed with a wisdom that seemed to shine from deep within. Jack, intrigued, walked over and sat beside him. "Good morning," Jack greeted him. "I've never seen you around here before. What's your name?" The old man smiled, his lips curling with a quiet secret. "My name is Thomas, and you are Jack, aren't you? I've heard much about you." Jack blinked in surprise. "How do you know my name?" Thomas chuckled softly. "In a small town like this, everyone knows everyone's name. But tell me, Jack, what is it that weighs on your mind so heavily?" Jack sighed. "I don't know. I feel lost. Like there's something I'm supposed to understand, but I can't find it. I feel stuck in this life, working day in and day out, but none of it seems to give me peace." Thomas nodded, as though he had been expecting this answer. "I see. You are searching for meaning. But tell me, Jack, what would you say if I told you there's a place, a garden, where you could find the answers to all your questions?" Jack's eyes widened. "A garden? I don't understand. How could a garden have the answers?" Thomas's smile grew a little wider. "It's not just any garden, Jack. This garden is a place where you can choose the path of your life, the path of your heart. But before you enter, you must understand something important." "What is it?" Jack asked, leaning forward, eager to learn. Thomas took a deep breath. "The garden is a place of choices. Every path you take represents a different part of you, a different life. But each choice comes with consequences. The trick is, you won't know what lies ahead until you choose." Jack furrowed his brow, trying to process what Thomas was saying. "So, you're telling me that every decision I make has consequences, but I won't know them until I make them?" Thomas nodded. "Exactly. But here's the thing, Jack. Sometimes the path we think will bring us happiness leads us to unexpected places. And the path we think will bring us pain may end up teaching us more than we ever imagined." Jack sat in silence for a moment, reflecting on Thomas's words. Finally, he spoke again. "I've always been so afraid of making the wrong choice. What if I choose wrong and end up regretting it forever?" Thomas's eyes softened, and he placed a gentle hand on Jack's shoulder. "That, my friend, is the greatest illusion we live with. There is no wrong choice. There is only the path that we take and what we learn from it. Every step you take is a lesson, even if it doesn't feel like it at first." Jack looked up at Thomas, a sense of wonder in his heart. "So what do I do now? How do I find this garden?" Thomas stood up slowly, using a wooden cane to support himself. "The garden is within you, Jack. You've been walking past it your whole life, but you've never seen it. It's a place of your own making, a reflection of all the choices you've already made." Jack stood as well, feeling both confused and inspired. "I don't understand. Are you saying that the garden is just a metaphor? That I've been creating my own path all along?" Thomas smiled, his eyes filled with quiet pride. "Exactly. Every day you live, you're creating your garden. Every choice, every action, every moment is a seed planted in the soil of your life. You are the gardener of your own destiny." Jack looked down at the ground, suddenly feeling the weight of his own decisions. "But if I've been making all these choices, why do I still feel lost? Why don't I feel like I found what I'm looking for?" Thomas tilted his head, considering Jack's question carefully. "The answer to that is simple," he said, his voice gentle. "You haven't been paying attention to your garden. You've been so focused on the world outside that you've forgotten to look within." Jack felt a wave of realization wash over him. "I've been looking for happiness outside of myself. I've been waiting for something or someone to give me the answers. Thomas nodded. That's right. The world is full of distractions, Jack. We spend so much time chasing after things. Money, success, approval, that we forget to look inside, where all the answers already exist. The garden is not a place you go to. It's a place you cultivate every day, with every choice. Jack stood in silence for a moment, thinking deeply. Finally, he spoke, his voice filled with a new sense of clarity. I think I understand now. I've been looking for the wrong thing in the wrong places. The answers, they're not out there in the world. They're inside of me, in the choices I make, in how I live my life. Thomas smiled warmly. That's the truth, Jack. The path to meaning is not a destination, but a journey. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward understanding yourself and the world around you. And sometimes, the most profound discoveries come from the simplest choices. Jack took a deep breath, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. I'm ready now. I'm ready to pay attention to my garden, to make the choices that are right for me, even if I don't always know where they'll lead. Thomas nodded, his eyes sparkling with approval. Remember, Jack, the garden is always there, and no matter where you go, it will always grow with you. With that, the old man stood up, took a few steps back, and disappeared into the crowd. Jack, now filled with a sense of peace and purpose, turned back toward the path he had once walked with uncertainty. But now, it no longer felt like an endless journey in search of answers. It felt like a journey of discovery, a discovery of the choices he was ready to make and the life he was ready to live. And as he walked on, he smiled to himself, knowing that no matter what the future held, his garden would always be there, waiting for him to cultivate it, one choice at a time.